All right, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Now let's share the grace. I come from a polygamous family of 1 man and 54 wives, with each wife in rightful possession of the ancestral positions on the land the gods bestowed on my father. My father's name is Africa, and my mother's name Nigeria. I grew up not knowing who my father is, but heard stories of how great he was. Before the slave trade and economic wars, he was so blessed with natural resources. The gods endorsed it. Our manna didn't need to fall from heaven. Instead, we toiled the earth's crust and crop it. Let's discuss this. A continental loss when the whites came and profit. A monumental fall left father's kids on slave ships. Our mothers weep as they wept. Pain, shame, lashes on the black skin that turn scars we now call borders. Now that father is gone, every mother has her kids within borders, feeding them lies in mother tongue, head on collision with their stepbrothers. You are not a South African, you're just an African from the South. Like I am only Nigerian because my mother's words are broke in the West. Yes, we all were raised with our mother tongue but still united by our fatherland. And this is our fatherland. So speak to me with your mother tongue. Don't raise fists with your mother's hands. Because Africa became detailed when we lost the head to the family clan. And the whites wouldn't show us where father's grave is. So we are raised to perceive this as our motherland. No wonder when we say God, our father, the image in our head is that of a white man. Praise the Lord!
No one will come to free our country for us. No one will come to finance our war for us. The interim president of Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traoré, just delivered a powerful speech during the 3rd edition of the International Cotton and Textile Exhibition, SICOT, which is being held from the 26th to the 27th of January 2024 in Koudougou, in the north-central region of the country. During this very powerful speech, Traoré emphasized on the importance of continuing the country's revolution. He acknowledged the security challenges and lack of resources to combat terrorism, but stressed the necessity of the fight. Traoré thanked the Burkinabe people for their patriotism and financial support, and recognized the assistance of friendly nations. The imperialists wanted to bury the Burkina Faso revolution on the 27th of October. They thought they had completely derooted the tree, but the roots have sprouted, and today, millions of revolutionaries are on this earth.
Let me show you how we do stuff around here. Actually, my department uses Monday.com, so I'm good. The work management tool? No. That's
This is to say that we must have in mind the vision of the father of the revolution. Many in his time may not have understood. Mistakes may have been made. But today, all those who lived in his time surely regret a lot of things. He had warned us of this time we are living in. The imperialism that expresses itself in the most violent way, that wants to exterminate us to take our lands, by manipulating other Burkinabés and by killing them. The struggle is engaged. As we said last year, the development is starting now. The security situation in the region has evolved negatively since May 2022, if I'm not mistaken, during the first attacks. We followed at a distance. But since last year, we have decided to put a certain number of organizations and security structures in the area to allow us to face and stop the terrorists. Thank God, I told the leaders with their contest. We were able to see the sons and daughters of the region who took up arms alongside the FDS to defend their land, to defend their motherland. On the security front, on the national level, as you can see, we are in a phase of equipment. In particular, a little heavy equipment, means of protection. And the last time we received the first batch, I can say that it represents perhaps 2% of our strategic equipment plan. Many things remain to come over the course of the year, which must therefore allow our forces to rise in power and have a fire capacity far beyond what the enemy could have. It is a challenge, and I also count on all those who have ideas. Because, as I said this morning, the question of defense is not only weapons, but there is also the organization of the terrain. A mission has been entrusted to the governor to be able to organize all the living forces alongside the FDS to organize the terrain. We cannot fight without protecting ourselves, without organizing the terrain. We must prevent the enemy from circulating freely. Long before that, I said that all the ministers who were present received the mission to go to the populations to pass on the message so that we could organize the terrain. Because this terrorism is in the abyss right now, and we must take advantage of the situation to accompany it in its death. We will not spare any effort, because the people have understood that we are at war. War is costly. I know that many people wonder what it can cost us, but I just ask you to imagine that when we have 100,000 men to train with 100 cartridges, it costs us more than 1 billion cartridges, just training. And if you have to take a Kalashnikov cartridge that costs $1, do the math yourself. And I'm not talking about other equipment or ammunition. War is costly. Weapons, ammunition, men, means of protection, it's costly. But it's the price of our freedom. And I think the Burkina Faso people have understood that and have decided to finance their war. Thank you very much. Patriotism is born, and I call you to maintain this flame. No one will come to free our country for us. No one will come to finance our war for us. And we told you, we keep telling you, to this day, there are states that, despite us leaving with our money, refuse to sell us. Thank God, there are many others who have accepted to open the door for us and sell us everything we want. So we say thank you to all the sincere friends of Burkina Faso who accompany us and who accept to cooperate with us in this fight. We are trying to do two things at the same time, the war and development. It's difficult, but with the governance model that we have adopted, it is possible. We must recognize, as we said, that bad governance also has a part of the responsibility in the underdevelopment of our country. This is to say that everyone in their department has made an effort to try to go in the right direction for the common interest, so that we can be equipped today. As many VDPs as there are on the ground, all these battalions that have been created have been fully equipped by Burkina Faso. You may not imagine what the equipment of a single rapid intervention battalion can cost. I dare not tell you. But we know that this feat of being able to train and equip more than 20 battalions in 1 year, we do not congratulate ourselves. Maybe we could have done better, but we have realized that the country has potential if we manage the financial resources well. And with everyone's contribution, it is possible. We could also have been developed if there was not this war, and if it was well managed, since the money we inject into the war could have been used to do other things. But we are trying to do both at the same time. Everything is possible in Burkina Faso. There is not this culture that we could not do, and we are now working to specialize certain sectors. Make sure that if tomorrow someone thinks that by making an embargo on a given food product, on Burkina, it will hurt us. We make sure that in the near future, we will prohibit the importation of this product because we will produce it on site. It is at this price that we will have our real independence. It starts first in our plate, what we eat. So I encourage you to be brave again, so that we can produce to the maximum. As for us, we will make all effort to accompany you so that the conditions of production can be facilitated and that the Burkinabe can eat to their fill. We will face this challenge in a few months, if God pleases. So, a lot of courage to everyone.
Here.
But everyone has a different story to tell. Shell, which says it's losing it.
The Tampa market.
Country in Northeast Africa, precisely on the Horn of Africa.
But the local farmers.
All right. Good afternoon, family. Once again, welcome to the WCC Aspect program of every Sunday at 1 p.m. I am your host, Frank Mauba. This is the Revolutionary Repatriation Educational Lecture Series aspect of WCC every Sunday, where we come to talk about Black issue only. Yeah, you heard me. I said African people issue on it. We are not here to discuss anything in favor of the imperialists. We are not here to discuss anything in favor of the oppressor. We are not here to discuss anything in their favor. As far as we are concerned, those imperialists, those oppressors are our enemies. They are the enemies the Most High spoke about. They are the enemies the Creator spoke about. The enemy is not some form of devil that is unknown, that people speak of, that is unknown. The devil, the enemies, are those who hate you and those who don't want to see you progress. Those are your enemies. The enemies are those who oppress you. The enemies are those who enslave you. The enemies are those who colonize you. And the enemies are those who systematically kill our revolutionary leaders. The enemies are those who go against people who speak Africans' issues. Those are our enemies. And we care less how they feel when we discuss African issues. Now, today's topic, it says, this is dangerous for Liberia. The question then becomes, what is dangerous for Liberia? And that's what we're going to look at. So I don't think we're going to take long time today, all right? Because based on what we are about to discuss, based on what I took today. But it says this is dangerous for Liberia. U.S. to usher Mandela, all right? And then it says World Bank exposed Ghana president. Now, let me go back a little bit. We just watched the video that we just ended with Burkina Faso with Ibrahim Traoré. So far as I am concerned, and we are concerned as Pan-Africanists, as revolutionary, he is one of the most brilliant, greatest African in this current time that we can point at. He is one of the most brilliant, bravery Africans who want to see Africa free and African people free, who want to make sure Africa say yes to herself, who want to make sure if Africa is to say yes, sir, let it be to the African continent and to the African interests. If Africa is to be obedient, let it be to the African people and to African interests and not to the enemy's interest. And I am so glad and happy that the decision these guys are taking, it have come to a point before we get at that place, like Michael Garvey said, not everyone will go to Africa because not everyone will be good for Africa. And in the same way this morning, if I can take from him, not everyone in Africa seek the African interests. And so we will leave them behind. And so we will not care about them. Just because you are on an African continent, that does not make you in any way to have regard for you, as long as you do not have the African people interest. We count you out. It doesn't matter whether you live in Africa. So if Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger can leave ECOWAS, the question is, why would they want to leave? That's the first thing we should look at. If someone who has planned to kill you, to destroy you, what will you do? Will you still continue to be part of that person or to be part of that entity? We have seen ECOWAS through the implementation of the United States. Some people call it United Snake. Through the implementation of UK, the imperialists, the colonizer, the oppressor, forcefully asks or demanded Tinubu of Nigeria, Nana Akufo-Addo, Ghana, Macky Sall, Senegal, Africa, and the rest to wage war on Nigerian, Malian, Burkina Faso, to kill them. They are enemies. They are enemies. So it is in their right to forgo ECOWAS. As long as they feel that being part of ECOWAS is oppressive, ECOWAS disregard them, why would they want to be part of ECOWAS? Being part of ECOWAS, if it would make you to be in captivity, to have no place, to have no right, and being out of ECOWAS, if it can make you independent, what is the best? Being out of ECOWAS, in my belief, is the best. So if they are making decisions and they feel that it is in the interest of the people they serve, we support such decision. And the reason why we support it is because it was the same ECOWAS disregarded these people, disregarded the voice of the people, disregarded the interest of the people, and decided to go in Niger with the demand of America and US to go kill Nigerian, to go kill Burkina Faso. If those people, if those Africans have not stood up, along with African, both on the continent and out of the continent, to support Burkina Faso, to support Mali, to support Niger, had it not been, there was going to be mass bloodshed. While the imperialists, the enemies, could have been sitting somewhere, enjoying and laughing and telling Tinubu, thank you. Let that African blood waste. Let them die. And Tinubu could have been happy. Nana Akufo-Addo could have been happy to see African die. Why would it be a problem if those people leave ECOWAS when ECOWAS was an enemy and ECOWAS is still enemy? ECOWAS decided to kill the people and put sanction on them. Sanction means captivity. ECOWAS put Niger in captivity. ECOWAS put Burkina Faso in captivity. Mali in captivity. What do you want to do? Should they sit down and be in captivity and suffer and let their people die? Absolutely not. So it is right for them to leave ECOWAS. Because ECOWAS is not an organization for African people interest. It is an organization run financially by Europe and America to uphold to the interests of Europe and America, neocolonialism. And if an organization in Africa that is supposed to support Africa is a neocolonialist entity, you are an enemy. So ECOWAS, by that point, if I can rest and continue of what we are here today, ECOWAS is an enemy to the African interest. Let's continue. Now, we get to the first topic here that says, this is dangerous for Liberia. Folks, Liberia election just ended. And we have a man in power called Joseph Imam Boakai. The man that served under the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf administration as vice president for 12 years. And in their first term, they supported the interests of the United States by implementing policy to protect American interests. When we say American interests, you know what I mean. We don't have to explain that again. We're talking about the hierarchy. And they did in their first 6 years. And in their second year, things fall apart. Things fall apart at a dying minute. When Ellen Johnson Sirleaf began to take some approach by bringing in other nations to partnership with Liberia, like China. At that point, and that was in her second term, the 4th years into her second term now, she started making deal with China. And the United Snake got angry and got pissed up with Ellen Johnson Sirleaf in her last term ending. And they began to call her betrayer. Then what happened? After her second term ended, election came in 2017. Her vice president was Goring. But for some reason, best known to her, she did not support her vice president. But for some reason known to the public, we know the reason why she did not support the vice president. For some reason known to the public, according to public opinion. And public opinion, in addition to some of the things later on that he said after he did not win the election. Now, fast forward. President George Manuel Weah won the election. Fast forward. President George Manuel Weah was not a puppet. He was not a typical American puppet. He was not a typical colonial puppet that you can just hold and control, because this is a man that grew up as a man who suffered. This is a man that grew up in a nation that did not give him the opportunity. He survived based on the blessing the Most High gave him and the blessing his parent gave him when he was born. He survived because he saw something in himself and he worked by himself to get to where he wanted to get. Society did not help him. He lived in a small community. He experienced poverty. He experienced chaos. He experienced division, divisiveness in the so-called earliest African democratic nation. But for once, I believe Liberia is not the earliest democratic nation. Because when she had independence in 1847, not everyone voted up to 1985. Not everyone had the right up to 1985 before things started changing since 1847. Not everyone had the opportunity to serve in public offices until 1985. Not everyone. Liberia had been divided because of the influence, support system of the United States. And that's why Liberia as a nation was funded for to exploit the resources for America, for the slave master and a descendant of the slave master. Oh yes, and they did that for over 140 years. One party system, and you call that the earliest democracy. But let's continue. That will come another day. Now, Joseph Imam Boakai became the president. Let's say, sorry, not yet. George Weah became the president, and not working in the interest of America, but rather working in the interest of Liberia. And once that happened, the so-called Black Caucus that was here or that here, when President Weah became president, at the initial state, the Black Caucus went in Liberia. The United States government sent them. They sent their slave to go in Liberia. The slave, the Black Caucus, they are slave. They sent them to go Liberia to convince this man of what to do and what not to do. And it was said by one of our former presidents for somehow that they were able to manage to put him in captivity. Now he's in jail in the United Kingdom. But they did not put him in jail because of the issues that actually happened in Sierra Leone or the issue that actually happened in Liberia. They put him in jail because this man refused to be the puppet, and he was a threat to their interests. Number one, the rubber plantation, the firestone in Liberia. That's President George Mandela we are put bar on. And they managed. They took him out. Among that, there was other factors. Now they get him out. Now President George Mandela came because he had the Liberian people interest. America refused to work with him. And America saw him as an enemy. And the Black Caucus we have here, America sent their slave to go to Liberia to convince this man. And they tried. But for some reason, I believe what they took to him was not in the interest of the Liberian people. And those people came back. And that was how they did it to Charles Taylor. They sent a delegate to us. To us. They went and met Charles Taylor. And Charles Taylor said no. This time around, Liberians have to be at the forefront, sitting at the table, making decisions for their interests and the interests of the nation. Not well, Washington, D.C. sit in the U.S. and then send order, just like how they did it in 1847 all the way to 1985, where they were set in Washington, D.C. and then write or call and say, this is what needs to be done. And they took him out because they saw him as a threat. That's how they did not work with President George Manuel Weah. So with the little income or access or partnership, that's why, if you can notice, the United States government went after individuals, member of the ruling party, because those people hold key positions that America could not have penetrated so easily to get what they wanted to get. And the United States put sanction on those key government officials. And guess what? Those officials, not only them, but even their family, the United States government sanctioned their family from coming to the soil of the United States. In your right mind, do you think you will do that? And you think the people will love you? Do you think you will continue systematically to oppress the people and step on their neck? And you think the people will not get some senses? You think you will do that? And they will not get to realize that, but what happened? Only certain people, the United States or the United Snake, can sanction, can go against. Since when had the United States or the United Snake sanctioned government official? Since 1847. Since when? So, they did not work with George Weah. They even sent Lena Thomas Greenfield, that we're going to talk about. They even sent her, but she went again. She was unable to convince George Weah, because this man is not a puppet. This man is not a horse Negro. This man is not obedient to the United States. This man did not take oath for the United States. This man took oath for Liberian and Liberian interests. And in one of his speeches that he gave before, he said, this is a revolutionary. If I would die, I would die. You know, we Liberians, we don't pay attention. We Africans, we don't pay attention. We Black people, we don't pay attention, especially to those who actually serve purposely, precisely the interest of Africans, of Black people. We don't pay attention to them when they speak. And sometimes not everything that they will come and just give you like raw, but pay attention to certain key details. He said, this is a revolutionary movement. If I would die, I would die. He knew what he was talking about, because he knew they was going to come after him. And since they tried with corruption, with all kind of a propaganda, they could not get any evidence. They went by censuring his government officials. Those are our key, area that those are our key positions close to him. They sanctioned them. They did not like his government. And the United States worked hard with opposition. Of course, you know, if you see the United States supporting opposition in your country, what the first thing that comes to your mind, why is the United States supporting opposition? That means the current government does not support the United States interest. Why would the current government support the United States interest? The United Snake still go and support opposition. Under no circumstances the United Snake will go against her own interest. If a government in power is supporting the interest of the United Snake, the United Snake will now go and support opposition. But if you see the United Snake supporting opposition, funding opposition, and speaking in favor of opposition, then that means the United Snake interest in our country is not being protected. And that's what went on. So they fought hard. They financed opposition. They helped opposition with propaganda to convince the masses. And that's one reason the United Snake and the United Snake Kingdom, they do not promote education on the African continent. The only thing, worship, look at it. Have you seen Chinese promoting religious activities on the African continent? Have you seen Chinese promoting Buddhism on the African continent? The Chinese don't promote Buddhism on the African continent. That's their God. That's their way of worship. If any African people want to learn it, go to China and learn it. And then when you go to China and then you want to carry on your continent, then so be it. But they don't go to the African continent promoting Buddhism. But the only thing the United States can promote in UK, in Africa, is missionary to go and still be preaching. They are still preaching on the African continent. While people are living in the future, it is so disheartening. People in the United States and UK, 15 years old, already living a dream. But in Africa, we have 35 years old men still talking about in the future. Your future is gone. Your future has been damaged. Your future has been sold. Your future has been oppressed. People 10 years old in the US, in UK, in the white man land, they are already living in the future. But you're 40 years old on the African continent and you still talking about in the future. And you still praying to a God that you have never seen and you will never see publicly. Because the guy in your head look white. And if the guy in your head look white, you are not going to heaven. Because if the guy in your head look white and you are on earth here where every resource is provided, every means provided for you to live a better life, and that guy is not happy and that guy hates you, will you be in heaven with that guy? Will you be in heaven with that guy and people that look at that guy? Will you be there? You will not be there. Let's get back to the topic. Fast forward, they ran propaganda, convinced the masses, and they removed President George Manuel Weah because of the ignorance of the masses. And that's how neo-colonial it is. And that's how colonialism is. Do not educate the people. If you read the book of how to call it, Frederick Douglass, it's about 100 pages. He himself wrote it. The life, I think it's the title should be the autobiography of Frederick Douglass or something like that. It's 100 pages. If you read it, where the slave master, when Frederick Douglass was living with the slave master, and the slave master had a son, and the slave master's son, he used to go to school. The slave master's wife, he used to stay in the house like a housewife, and the slave master would go to work. So one day, the slave master came home, and the slave master saw the wife teaching Frederick Douglass lesson from the son. And the slave master told the wife, why are you educating the black boy? If we educate the black boy will know what we are doing to him is against humanity. And that means he will get to know our secret and he might hate us. So don't teach him, don't educate him. That's how the African continent is. America will never promote anything to elevate black people on the African continent apart from religion, apart from missionary. UK will never do it. Now, they ran propaganda. George Weah is gone. Now they brought in a 90 years old man. I'm not trying to be sarcastic here. This man does not know his age. Around 2017, during the election time, they said he was 78 years old. And then in 2023, they said he's 79 years old. He's in his 90s. What will a 90 years old man do with this current generation? And this is a man that have served over 40 years in government. And those 40 years, historically, publicly, there is nothing to show. Even for individual to come and say, when this man served, these are the things that he did for this organization, for this movement, for this. No one, you cannot see it. No record at all. But this is the man that America supported against the interests of the Liberian people. This is the man the Liberian people said they wanted based on ignorance. But I see some of the thing here. What we mean is that it is very dangerous, and why the United States support him. I just gave a background so before we get in it, so you can know what we're heading to. All right. Now, this is the president-elect, or not elect. Sorry. This is the president of the Republic of Liberia as we speak currently. Right here. The one in the African attire, in the African costume, or in the African cloak. Right here, he is the president as we speak. Right here. Now, let's continue. Before the election, right? Months upon months, we try to convince the Liberian public that number one, this man is old, and not just old, because you can be old, you still serve a purpose. You can be old and you still have vision. You can be old and you still see things. But not in this current time of leadership. Of African youth. This man is already old. That's one. He have health condition, numerous health condition. He have pacemaker in him. In Africa, we call it battery, or in Liberia, we call it battery, right? He have it in him. This is a man, he have the syndrome of stroke. He have the syndrome of stroke. He have speech impairment. This man, the syndrome of stroke, he has speech impairment. He can't even see. He's already suffering from vision. He has vision impairment. This man, he cannot walk right. He cannot balance right. He struggled to balance. He struggled to walk. You have to help him to sit in a chair and help him to wake up from a chair. This man. So, what the imperialists do is that they create the chaos, capitalize on the chaos, and then after that, they come and play fun out of you. Let's see what BBC wrote. BBC said, Liberia's new president, Joseph Boakai, failed to reach the end of his speech and had been helped away from the podium during his swearing-in ceremony. How? To even hear this. To even hear this. Liberian new president Joseph Boakai failed to reach the end of his speech and has been helped. The man who told the Liberian people he came to rescue But on the day of his inauguration on January 22nd, 2024, he became rescued. The rescuer became rescued on that day. The rescuer became rescued. He was helped away from the podium and he was taken for medical treatment. They said Mr. Walker is 79 years old. Like I said, he's not 79. 2017, they said he was 78 when he was running for election. So 2017 to 2023, he's 79 years old now when he was 78. But let's continue. Mr. Walker, 79, has been speaking for around 30 minutes. He spoke for 30 minutes. And he couldn't stand. He fought, everything collapsed. Just 30 minutes. Has been speaking for around 30 minutes at his inauguration ceremony, when it became clear that he was having difficulty continuing speech impairment. We have in America here, those people have been taken care of already. There are somebody on a job to go take care of them to get paid. Now somebody on a job to speak for them because they cannot speak for themselves. They cannot make decisions for themselves. That's why they have power of attorney for them. Either their daughter or their son or relative is the power of attorney that can speak for them. How can a man that cannot speak for himself become the president of the Republic of Liberia for over 5 million people? When even in America here, they cannot do it for such people to hold public offices because they have speech impairment. That's number one. They cannot speak for themselves. People speak for them. And those that speak for them are called the power of attorney, PO8. And that power of attorney could be relative or children or friends who they prefer to speak on their behalf. Let's continue. He fell twice. With the 30 minutes he stood over there, he fell twice. He fell twice to carry on speaking. And the ceremony was adjourned. It ended. The ceremony ended. 2 times he tried, but he failed. Is this the man that coming to lead over 5 million people? Is this the man that is coming to sell the Liberian nation to the United Snake? Is this the man that is coming to put Liberian people's life into jeopardy? It is dangerous for Liberia, people. It is dangerous for Liberia. And look what it said, what BBC said. And BBC know that this man, as the news has speculated that he suffered from heat, BBC know this man did not suffer from heat. BBC said some reports suggest, because the reason why BBC says some reports suggest, BBC did not see medical report. So until it can be proven medically, you cannot say it was heat. Because the reality here is we saw him struggling to speak. We saw him struggling to see because he got visual impairment. He's old. He can't see clear. Somebody that is old that can see, especially in Africa, what do you think going to happen? This man going to sign papers. He's going to sign bad deal. He's going to sell the country. He's not even going to read anything. That's how he's going to sell all of our mineral resources. He's going to sell it to company and sign it and make deal with them and they go with it. Because he can't see. He can't read. Some reports suggested that he suffered from temperature that reach more than 30 degrees Celsius. But the question is, Liberia got two seasons, rainy season, which we call winter or summer, and then we got dry season, which we call summer in other places. That's all. And this man is a man that was born in Liberia. This man is 90, in his 90s. So he know the climatic condition. And those that did the planning, they know the climatic condition of Liberia. So what a poor excuse to come and tell it was because of heat. This man, it was not because of heat. It was because of old age. Because age comes with a lot of illness or illnesses. And then it said, video footage show a man fainting. Prepare neon. Video footage show a man fainting paper near Mr. Barker's face before he was taken away. Let's take this out. Let's take this out. We're going to see some video around. Let's take this out. It is dangerous for Liberia, folks. Let's see here. Let's see here. Let's see something here. These are the kind of people, the colonialists, the imperialists, want in power in Africa. People that it would take them less or fewer time to get their attention, to convince them. These are the kind of people. If you follow the trend, which of course we spoke about yesterday, if you follow the trend now, America or UK or the imperialists, they are not supporting any younger generation or any young folks to come into public policies or offices. They are not supporting younger generation or younger folks. They are supporting the older generation. That's a new trend of neo-colonialism that have taken place on the African continent. Let's see here.
Man, got respect.
All right, folks. I don't know if you noticed something. So he was actually reeling and he got blocked out. He got blocked out. So when you saw him stop, he got blocked out. And then you saw the security guy, this guy came to him and doing his hand like this, like, can you see me? Right? Or can you identify this? And then at some point, if you're paying attention, his head went backward like this. He was in a fainting movement when his head went backward like this. Like sometimes you fall asleep and all of a sudden, you just go like this. That's what happened to him. And like I told you, he's also suffering from stroke. So when you saw him went back like this, what happened at some point in the video you're going to see? Security came and surrounded him. His legs collapsed. And they pulled him out of there. And guess what? You see this man right here? That's why they always laugh at African. This man was never taking picture. But the moment he noticed that Buckeye blocked out, he started taking Buckeye picture. He started recording. The moment he noticed that Buckeye couldn't see, because at some point you saw him rubbing his eye. Like he couldn't see, like, what is going on with my eye? He's old. Naturally, you old, you suffer from visual impairment. He's old. So he couldn't see. So he couldn't even read. So I don't hear what he said, but I believe he was telling the security, because he was still going on with his speech, but I believe he was telling the security, I'm not yet done. I must still reading. I thought the speech is finished. So that means he couldn't even see what was on the paper. He went blind in a blink of an eye. So he's asking the security, am I done? Even though, like I said, I didn't hear what he said, but I believe that's what he was saying. Am I done, or are we still here? Do I have something to still read? Because you can see him facing the security. I don't think he was telling the security, take me out of here, or I'm weak, I'm about to fall. He did not even know what was going on. That was to tell you, even his brain, he have a how they call it, a brain issue, because he cannot even recall what was going on. Or I believe he was even telling the security what is going on. I can't understand. I'm not understanding what is going on. So that means his brain was not even functioning. It's just like you have a grandma or a grandpa, and you're talking to your grandma or your grandpa, and your grandpa, and then you telling the person, some things that they did, and they can't remember. That was what's going on here. So his brain went dead. So as you can see, at that point, the security guard noticed what was going on. So the security guard took the speech from Buckeye, wrap it up, put it in his coat pocket, as you can see it. Because at that point, he did not want, for instance, if, for example, anything could happen either badly, right? And they have to focus on him, and that speech could have failed, and somebody else could have taken that speech. So the first thing he did was to get it from him. So it is the kind of man. So at this point, Buckeye do not even know who took his speech, where that speech went. Is this the kind of man that we have in Liberia as president, a nation? What is this man going to do about a nation where half of the population are younger folks? It is dangerous for Liberia. So at this point, another security guard came over to hold him. So as you can see, he was falling. So now you have this security guard here, another guy here, and then another guy just came, right? Then right behind this man right here, there's another security guard. Then right here, another guy right here to hold him at the back. So he's already surrounded. If not, he was going to fall. He was going to collapse on stage. So as you can see, he's already heavily surrounded. And it was at this point they cut the camera off. And in another video, you can see them telling the journalists, cut the camera off, take the camera from here. How embarrassing that is. So you see it. He actually went slowly down. They hold him. You saw how he was going down already, falling. They hold him down there. And then at some point, if you really pay attention, you saw his hand stroke. You saw his hand, right? Like these fingers was not loosening. This finger was together like this. That stroke. And then they want to say it's heat. It is stroke. We are not saying that we are not doing this to play fun, because we already spoke about this, that this man was never fit. And we even said, we spoke before, we told the children to let this man go and sit and rest. This place is not for him. His time has reached 40 years in government position, offices, even though nothing he did is enough. They listen not. But you saw his hand is not loosening. As a normal human being, why were your hand, your fingers, it's stroke that it has to come by. The veins are not working. Blood are not flowing through the vein normally. So you will see him going like this. So he saw at some point his hand like this. A stroke. That's the man you guys voted for. That's the man the American government and other agency and organization ran propaganda to put him in power, not in your interest. And you believe it. Now he's dead for 6 years. Within that 6 years, all the mineral resources. Within that 6 years, the IMF about to buy your country. They have the money. They can buy your country. We're going to live in our country. You're going to live in our country thinking that you own a nation. But it is owned by the slave master, the descendant of the slave master. The descendant of the slave holder. That nation is going to be owned by them. And you live in it, you think you own a nation. No, you are being bought. Let's continue here. So then, let's see the U.S. delegate had to rejoice, had to be happy that yes, the Messiah for them, their Messiah, Joseph Boakai, have come to power. Come see how they rejoice. Come see how they put their energy into it. Now, the Black Caucus. Look at Lena Thomas Greenfield, this idiot. Look at this lady, this slave. this hot Negro, this same lady who supported Nana Akufo-Addo and Tinubu and Ekwa, this lady, to wage war on Niger, to wage sanction on Niger, on the Sahel nations. This lady, Linda Thomas Greenfield, Liberia, folks, it is dangerous for our nation. This lady right here, Linda Thomas Greenfield, she should not even be welcome in Liberia. She should not even be welcome on the African continent. I don't think Linda Thomas Greenfield will be welcome in Niger. I don't think she will be welcome in Mali, in Burkina Faso, in the Sahel region. I don't think she will be welcome because this lady vigorously spoke for war on those nations in the interest of the United States. This lady vigorously campaigned for sanction on the Sahel nation. This lady. And if this lady did it, those people are Africans. Those people are black. Those people are yours. Those people are your brothers and sisters, your uncle, your mother, your friends. And this lady advocated in the interest of a colonial master to go kill Africans, to wage war on Africans. Then how can this lady come to Liberia and she's welcome like this? She's a horse Negro. She's a slave. She's a neo-colonialist. She is not to be welcome in Liberia. Because if you love Niger, you will do what they stand for. You will do what they believe in. And if you love Niger, you will hate this lady. You will not love this lady. This lady is a snake. She does not love you. Tomorrow, even though I'm not Joseph Boakai, will not do it. But if Joseph Boakai decided that I am not going to support American interest, this lady will hate Joseph Boakai. And this lady will advocate for sanction or war. If Joseph Yima Boakai decides to do the same thing Ibrahim Traoré is doing in Burkina Faso, this lady will advocate for war against Joseph Yima Boakai. Lena Thomas Greenfield, she's a snake. She's not one of us. Despite she is black a woman, despite she is a black woman, she's not one of us. She's one of them. Because she is doing the work of the colonial master, her master. She's not working in the interest of African people. She's not one of us. She has worked tirelessly to make sure Africans are dead, Africans are destroyed, Africans are being killed. She has worked tirelessly with UN to make sure proxy war continue in those African nations as UN continue to exploit the natural resources of Africa. Why can't she go and advocate for DRC Congo if she served in a prestigious position? Look at DRC Congo today. If she loves African people, why will she not support Ibrahim Traoré? Is Ibrahim Traoré doing the wrong thing? Is she happy to see another African nation be in captivity? I know she's happy to see the people of Haiti suffering and dying. This lady, if I ever happen to serve in any position in Liberia, she will not be welcome. And my fear is on camera. If I ever happen to work in any position in Liberia and she's still alive, she will not be welcome. I can say that for facts. She will not step on our land. She's a snake. You cannot work for the colonialists and you expect us to work for you. You are an enemy. So they took the little children. They took the little children as usual. That's how African leaders do it. These children do not understand the underlying condition of the West. These children do not understand that this woman is the Satan the devil, the Bible spoke about. She is the devil the Bible spoke about. This lady. The Bible said, be careful with them. Their words are smooth like butter, but war is in their heart. Betrayal is in their heart. Captivity is in their heart. Oppression is in their heart. Be careful, for their words are smoother than oil, but sore is in their heart, that they will backstab you the moment you turn your back. So they go to the little one and convince them, this little one knows nothing. At high power presidential delegate from the United States, the government has touched down at the Rubber International Airport in Magibi County. Members of the 15-member delegation are in the country to grace the inauguration of President-elect Joseph Imam Boakai on Monday, January 22nd. The delegation is headed by Lena Thomas Greenfield, representative of the United States of America, the United Snake of America, to the United Snake Nation. Thomas Greenfield is a former U.S. ambassador to Liberia. What did she do when she was in Liberia as a former U.S. ambassador? Serving the interests of America in Liberia. On Saturday, January 20, U.S. President Joseph R. Biden Jr. announced the designation of the presidential delegation to attend the inauguration of President-elect Joseph Boakai tomorrow in Monrovia, member of the presidential delegate. Among these members, we have Catherine Rodriguez. We have Catherine. I think she is in charge of the embassy in Liberia there, right? And then we have, I'm not going to call it honorable. We have Stephen K. Benjamin, assistant to the presidential and senior advisor to the president, Joseph R. Biden, and director of affairs of public engagement, the White House. The honorable, he's not honorable, she's not honorable. SBR Coleman, Deputy Administration of the United States Agency for International Development, the Honorable Judge, not Honorable, Judge Development, Special Assistant to the President, and Senior Director for African Affairs, not African Affairs, European Affairs, American Affairs, National Security Council, the White House. All these so-called delegates running and proliferating on our day in Liberia because their Messiah have come. An avenue to exploit Liberia has come. Their heaven has come. Let's take this out. So you see, all these high power delegates rent in Liberia. Why will all these high power delegates just go to Liberia? Because a black man has become president? You didn't care? Because a black man has become president, they care? They don't care. If a black man become president, why would they run and go there? What interest do they have there? Do they love Liberian people so much, or African people so much, that if African president is elected or someone is elected in Africa as a president, then all these people have to waste their time, their resources, and just go there to go see a black man becoming president for a black nation? Stupidity. Do we really think that when that happened, then it means America loved Liberia or America loved that country? Because a black man is becoming president for a black nation, then white people, America, have to send these delegates just to go see a black man becoming, a black president or being inaugurated. That's all. It is dangerous for Liberia. As far as we are concerned, Liberia does not have president. The United States government has president in Liberia. The United States organization, British organization, Canadian organization, have president in Liberia, because that president is going to protect their interest. Oh yes, of course, they're going to give money, but they're going to buy your country. They're going to sell your country to these people. You're going to have no country. The same way they sold Firestone for 100, let's say for 99 years, that's how they're going to do it. Joseph Imam Boakai is going to sell Liberia for another 100 years to the descendant of the slave master. Because these people already told Boakai what part in Liberia they want. Who will leave from Liberia and come to Joe Boakai and tell Joe Boakai what part in America that they want? What part in America that we want the resources, we want a part of the land? Who will do it? No one. You cannot sell your birthright and then you expect to excel, you expect to grow. You cannot sell, because look, listen, folks. A land that is not owned by you, it is not a land. You are dead on this planet Earth. If you cannot own a land and you cannot govern a land, you are dead, because you cannot live and sustain yourself without a land. If you have no land, you are dead. Why would a white man would just want to go in a black country to see a black man being inaugurated? Does it make sense? You think that out of love? And then people are saying that, oh yes, we have all these delegates coming from America. They really love Liberia. They really love Boakai. White people coming. You think they get time for that? They do not have time. America don't have time for your country if America don't have interest in your country. These colonizers don't have interest for your country. They don't have time if they don't have interest in your country. And even if they have interest in your country, they don't have your time. Your leader in our nation can kill you. In any way, they can treat you in any way. As long America is supporting, as long that country is supporting their interests, America will never speak on the illness or the issues or whatsoever you are doing against your people. They will never speak. You know who will speak? It will be individual human rights group that will come and speak about it. And those individual human rights group will not win, because as long America is in it, they will not win. They will only bring the issue to light, but it will go nowhere. That's how America operates. They are not your friends. America is not Liberia friends. That is the hard truth to speak. But America is not a friend, a friendly nation. They cannot build you, and they will never build you. All they will do is to exploit you. They are beaten. Let me show you what I hate about this new generation.
About foreign investment in Africa. One thing that is certain is, you see, it is easier to mismanage money or funds that are borrowed or comes in grant than funds that are mobilized by grassroots individuals. If we have a common project here and all of us put in $1, we will all go back home keeping track of where our $1 is going. And that doesn't make politicians comfortable. So
there is a question here. I will address that question. So Icon Fire said, Julia Malema spoke good about the vice president. Who is he or her? Very great question. I will answer that question after the video. Trust me.
So that is a no-go area for many governments in the continent. Now, when it comes to the infrastructure in Africa, we have to understand that we cannot get the world work for the continent, as in my friend's words, unless and until we have the infrastructure that attracts them to work and get something remaining. The poor infrastructure is what enables capital flights and direct investment occurring within Africa. Because in most instances today, when we look at the logistics, for instance, how many of our big businesses, the likes of Dangote, who invest a lot on distribution, will tell you that in many African society today, the Dangote group cannot operate as a result of poor logistic, poor infrastructure, and not having the ability to negotiate or making it easy by African governments for their projects or their company to reach. Now, we cannot talk about regional integration if we do not build the infrastructure across the continent. The Gambia, where I am from, is just about 2 million people. We are one of the smallest markets in the world. How do we expect the Gambia to produce and grow if an infrastructure is not built for Gambians to integrate and interact and do business with Ghanaians, Nigerians, and other parts of the continent? Another good example is Rwanda today is seen as one of the fastest growing economies in the world. In the top 10, Rwanda is there. In terms of size in the economy, is around 143 out of 193. That is the disaster that occur because there is no common market across the continent. So these are things that we, the youths, of course, find very difficult to comprehend. And this is what I believe could be our solution. That with the big entrepreneurs that we have there, the big business and developers, the Dangotes, my friend here, Freedom, and the list goes on. There are so many Africans who need to rethink about investment in the continent instead of hoarding and hiding our money outside of the continent. We have to come, have trust in the youths, invest in the skills, and influence our governments to forcefully put the enabling grounds so that we can integrate. It doesn't matter if I walk across the continent. As I told you, I've traveled a lot and so many countries in Africa now. And all I see is brothers and sisters hungry of skills. I've seen youths building and making doors, gates in Nigeria, in the province of Nigeria, where we import them from China and Dubai, in the Gambia. This is the problem. And we cannot enhance this unless and until an infrastructure is built to put all of us together. And that is what we need to invest in now as a continent. Africa as a continent, we are made to believe that we have to stick with the financial institutions and financial dealings which are already set by a world without consulting Africa. And this has been the biggest disasters that we young people in the continent will have to leave generations to pay for. When we look at the numbers, we keep borrowing and yet don't multiply. And yet the same numbers that we're talking about cannot be channeled into human development. And that is the threat. That is the fear. And that is the anger and frustration that every African youth today is facing. So we need to have a paradigm shift in the way we deal with the rest of the world, first by looking at partnership. But then a key important element will be how do we capitalize on wealth generation within our own environment without destroying it for future generations, but at the same time have an independent Africa that is fit to produce and distribute for itself evenly. But whenever it comes to the numbers, I am telling you that not just myself, but the 450 plus million youths of the continent are all living in fear of a debt we have to live and pay for. And it has not done anything meaningful to our life and for generations of Africans to come. The first important aspect that we need to invest in as young people, and this is what I've been doing for the past 2 years, is to invest in the mindset. It is not all the time the skill set. We have young people that are dynamic and have skills and can change the paradigm. But how do we change in our thoughts and look inward in the continent to make sure that Africa is able to produce for its own? By December around 2019, I was offered a scholarship to go and study abroad. And this is for the young people. I toned this down and said I wanted to remain in Africa, to study in an African university, to study in an African country, to better equip me to build on those bases and understand Africa more, integrate and interact with the young people out here so that we can shape the future that we want. From that day till now, I've engaged thousands of young Africans on dialogues, intergenerational dialogues, to provide a blueprint that we as young people can rely on for the sustainability of our continent. But first, I just want to say.
All right. So these are the things the imperialists do not want to see. Now, let me remind you, trust me, Fire, I will answer your question. But let me address this before I forget it. Let me remind you, we have spoken about this before, right? Where the Israeli consular, along with diplomat of Washington, D.C., right? American government, they went and sat down in a crafty council. And the Israeli consular said, the greatest threat or the issue of Israel is the younger generation of Black in America. Did you get that day? And we have spoken about it. She said the issues of Israel are the younger generation of Black American. The younger generation of Black American. And people, even as much as we try to explain it, some people have not yet gotten it. Black Americans are not fighting Israel. They are not bumping Israeli. They are not killing Israeli. But why would they come and say the problem of Israel are the Black American youth? You know why? The Black American youth are waking up. The Black American youth have now found their identity, that they are not Negro, they are not nigger, they are not names. They are the lost tribe of the 12th tribe of Israel. The Black Americans are now saying they are the true descendants of Israel. They are Judah. And the names go on as they go according to the 12 tribes. Because under no circumstances, Israel will just come and say the issue of Israel are the Black American. Because unity is taking place among Black. And not only that, look at this. What the Black American that she named were able to do. The Black American were able to identify even a Puerto Rican that, listen, you are part of the 12 tribe of Asia. You are called Executive. So now the Puerto Rican or the Mexican, even though their skin look white, Black America have identified it according to Bible scriptures or prophecy, not just opinion. And now you notice their population that they try to add on from the Puerto Rican or the Mexican. These people now, according to Bible prophecy and scripture, They have not identified themselves. They have not turned back. They are no longer white. Last week, you saw me showing a video, right? Where this Puerto Rican boy was telling this white lady, your forefather came and stole our identity and gave us Spanish, but Spanish is not our language, right? These people have found their root and they know who they are. Pay attention. What you see going on, like Nkrumah said, we cannot be asleep when it comes to the neo-colonialists, because the neo-colonialists, they are not asleep. And not only that, the same Black American youth that they said was a threat, the Black American youth are now on the African continent as well, preaching that, listen, the Bible, the thing you call Bible, it is our history. It is not actually Bible as you think. It is our history. It's only pertaining to Black people. And if you read the scripture, I mean, the entire Bible is all about Israel. The entire Bible is all about Israel. Israel shall be saved. Israel shall be this. Israel shall be that. Israel shall be this. Salvation is for the Israelites. The entire Bible is all about Israel. So, Black America that she mentioned in our video have come to understand. And you know what surpasses them? There have been no pastor from everywhere to challenge these people. Because for every time you ask them, even before they go to the Bible, they already quote the scripture. Matthew days, Proverbs days, Solomon days, this, that, and then before they even go to the scripture. And when they go to the scripture, there is no way you defeat them. And they will ask you, do you believe in the Bible? And then they read the Bible, and then they tell you, do you believe what God said? So what happened here is making a war to identify who the true Israelites are, who own Israel, and making a war to identify who Jesus Christ looked like, how he looked like, who is him. That is the threat. They have never said that because Black people have been asleep. Now, let's get back to the topic here. So now, like I said, so in the same way, they are also applying that to the African continent. The African youth, the Black youth are also threats. So America is not curious about working with Black youth. They don't care because it's a threat to them, to their interest, and to their economic power. I can tell you, America will never work with Usman. The boy I was sitting down there talking, he's called Usman. I think he's from Uganda, not Uganda, Gambia. America will never work with that brilliant boy. Never. Even out here, they can never work with me on any committee when it comes to African interests. They will never. Because they already know my view. They don't want to work with people like this. Never. So you see how all of them think. They are not in support of Black youth or this generation. They are thinkers. They are revolutionary. They will never, ever work with us. And that, we have seen it. They are our enemies. Now, let me answer this question here before we move on, because we're running out of time. Now, that's a very great question, right? Now, Mr. Akan said, Julia Malema spoke good about the vice president. Who is he or she? Now, let me say this before I can even bring evidence out to tell you, okay? Like I said, when you ask that question, I have to go to my phone to bring out something quick because I don't want to say something. On this platform, we don't speak of opinion. So I have to go quick. I already have it on my phone, okay? So I have to go quick and send it to my email and put it here so you can see what I'm talking about to answer your question. Because your question is going to be answered by the same EFF, okay? Now, sometimes you can speak of someone without knowing them, and you speak of them good without knowing their intention, okay? But I will tell you today, maybe in the long run, if Judah Malema have ever said anything good about Joseph Imam Boakai, maybe tomorrow or in the long run, he might end up defending his statement of what I'm telling you that, oh, he did not really know much about Joseph Imam Boakai, but the reason why he did it, it was because of this or because of that. And that's the reason I'm coming to give you right now and show you evidence. Okay, let's continue here. Now, Judah Malema have a political party called EFF. And for some of us as a Pan-Africanists, we've been following Judah Malema. So Judah Malema, first of all, I will tell you this. It is in his favor. Okay? He's already, that's what he wants. And everyone, I want it. Okay? Now, Judah Malema wants EFF to be on the entire African continent. Because he believed, his philosophy, he believed that EFF is about African liberation. It's based on African issues. So if there are other EFF branches in other parts of the African continent, it will be great. But the issue here is, it's not just about having EFF in other parts of Africa, okay? Because what happened here is, his former EFS, he know the principle to which EFF in South Africa based on. But the principle to some of those African nations that have EFF, it is not as the same as the principle of the EFF in South Africa. So Judah Malema does not know. But what I will tell you here is, this is my solution to Judah Malema and to you that listening. If Judah Malema wants for EFF in other African nations to be as effective as the EFF in South Africa and not to be politically biased, because the EFF in Liberia, it is politically biased. It is called economic freedom fighter, but they are biased. They are not fighting for economic freedom in Liberia. They are not fighting for liberation in Liberia. It is not as effective as the EFF in South Africa. So this is my solution. This is a platform where we speak, we give solution. Now, my solution here is, if Judah Malema wants EFF to operate on the African continent just like in South Africa, this is what they need to do. All EFF branches in Africa, some of the key leaders should travel to South Africa to be indoctrinated with the ideology, with the principle of Pan-Africanism, of EFF, what it stands for. But you can't just create EFF in other parts. Then you say they are EFF. No. You have to go in South Africa, because EFF should be the Mecca for let's say South Africa should be the Mecca for EFF. South Africa should be the Israel for EFF. So that's where people need to go and learn about that and then come back. But the EFF in Liberia, they are not as EFF as we know in South Africa. The EFF in Liberia, they are politically driven, biased. They are politically driven and biased. You can buy them. The EFF of Liberia can be bought politically. You can buy them to support. And that's what happened. You can buy the EFF in Liberia. They were not fighting for economy. Now, Judah Malema came, he spoke good about the president. I have not seen that speech. You said it, so I'm going by what you said. Now, according to you, he came, he spoke hardly about the president. Of course, he had to do that. Because, like I said, he's in South Africa. He's not really paying attention to what's going on in Liberia. So, the only time he pay attention, if the EFF in Liberia inform him of their job that they are doing in Liberia, either giving video or giving some things, that's what Judah Malema going to look at. Because he thinks those people in Liberia are going by the same principle as the people in South Africa. But meanwhile, it is not the case. Now, it was not even Joseph Imam Boakai that invited Judah Malema. Because I can tell you, Joseph Boakai is a puppet. He do not support the principle of Judah Malema. Because if Joseph Imam support the principle of Judah Malema, he will not be the puppet to America or to anybody. He will be the puppet to Liberia and to the Liberian people. So it was not Joseph Imam Boakai that invited Judah Malema in Liberia. Judah Malema was already en route to Ghana. So it's like he threw, like African parable say, he threw one rock and killed 10 birds. That's what happened. Liberia just happened to fall on the time he was going Ghana. That's one point. The second point here is, because there is EFF, let's just go logically, there is EFF in Liberia, and it happened that this EFF was in support of Joseph Imam Boakai campaign and presidency. Julius Malema had to stop because there is an EFF branch in Liberia. Had it been that there was no EFF branch in Liberia, Julius Malema could not have stopped in Liberia because he was never invited by the president. Now, I don't want to waste my time. I have spoken. Let me show you the proof.
Contracts, payments, everything I needed on one platform.
Now, do you see right here? This is not an EFF in South Africa. This is the EFF of Liberia. Look right here. Who picture do you see here? Is this Julius Malema picture, or this is Joseph Imam Boakai picture? Mr. Fire. Is this Julius Malema picture, or this is Joseph Imam Boakai picture? This is election time. This was not after election. This was campaign time. Look right here. Look here. So now you understand. You understand that the EFF of Liberia, it is not effective as the EFF. Their principle is different. They are politically driven, biased EFF in Liberia. They are not fighting for the interests of the people. They are not fighting for economic freedom. They are not fighting for liberation. Because indeed, if they were fighting for liberation, economic freedom, knowing the principle of the EFF, they will not support Joseph Imam Boakai. Look right here. Who picture is here? Let's continue. Let me show you great proof. Now, look right here. Let me see. Okay. You see EFF right here? Look here. You see here? Vote Boakai. This is Boakai. This is his vice president, Jeremiah Kun. So you see that right there? This is not like, South Africa. This is Liberia. But you see, they support Joseph Imam Boakai politically. You see that? You see them, right? Let's continue here. Let's continue.
Liberians to have a government that will be imposed on them. Gone are the days where few group of people sit in this building and decide the fate of the majority. To the commissioners, to the magistrates, to the election worker, that we have gathered all the intelligence, that we are aware that the police commander for Nima has just been changed, that the red armed officer will pre-mark ballot We will not wait for the police to discipline them. We will institute our own disciplinary measure, and we will discipline them decisively. And they will go and tell the story to their children. That's building regular.
All right. So you see right there, right? So you see the pictures right here. Do you see Judah Malema picture up here? No. It's all Joseph Imam Boaka picture here. So they are not EFF for Liberian people or for economic freedom. They are politically driven and biased. You see right here. Right? Now, let me take it there. So Judah, so what happened here? Even in the song, you see that the South African song, the EFF song from South Africa, used it in the video, play it at the background. Meanwhile, they were politically campaigning for the elected president. Now you understand? Okay. So they were not, Judah Malema was never invited by the elected president or Joseph Imam Boaka. If there had now been EFF in Liberia, Judah Malema could not have been in Liberia. He was going to go straight to Ghana. But you see the picture right here. They support Joseph Imam Boaka. All right? So the EFF in Liberia is different. I don't want to waste my time. But hopefully you understand what's going on here. If you are not understand, you will get to understand later. Under these 12 years, you are not going to see the so-called EFF. As long as they are getting a share, you will not see that. Even if the government is doing the wrong thing, and which of course we're going to be here, I will bring them out again. That EFF will not say anything. Because first of all, they are already in support of the government. They campaign for the government. So some of them are going to have, how they call it, they're going to have some appointed position, okay, to keep them silent. They're going to buy them off, get them some money, keep them silent. You're not going to hear them. So are they economic fighter or they are seeking their own interest? So Judah Malema was there because he feel that there is a branch in Liberia. So he had to stop over to be recognized by them or to recognize them. But look right here. This is Joseph Imam Boaka picture and his vice president picture. This was campaign time. EFF in South Africa will never do this. If you see EFF in South Africa picture on their t-shirt, either Judah Malema or a symbol of EFF, you are not going to see a political party candidate on the EFF shirt. It's never going to happen in South Africa. Let me take this out. I didn't want to talk about it, but just to answer your question, I have to bring it. Now, let's get back to the topic. Let's continue here, what we're talking about. So, we just watched a video about Usman, right? Where he spoke. America will not like such a person to work with. It's not about improving the continent or improving the life of the people. They hate it, right? Let's continue here. Now, let's get to Nelson Mandela. That is finished with Liberia, right? Let's get to Nelson Mandela. So that is Liberia. Liberia is in a big mess. Liberia is I'm telling you, Liberia is in a big mess. It's dangerous for the nation called Liberia for the next 6 years. Let's see how it's going to play out. We're going to be here talking about it. Now, so this is Nelson Mandela here, right? Let's see here. So it says, South Africa looking to hard auction of Mandela memorabilia, I mean other stuff belonging to him, like artifact or some other identity or things that were given to him. So it says, by the way, this article came out January 20, 2024. And shout out to Miss Haiti. She sent me this video. So let's continue. It says, over 70 items belonging to Nelson Mandela are due to go on auction in New York in February, but the South African government is trying to block, but the South African government is trying to block the sale. Folks, first of all, why would this happen? Why would these people keep reminding us? They're still selling Africans. They're still selling Africans. They're still making money out of Africans. Where these people go and sell anything belonging to George Washington, where they go and put on the market to auction it. Where these people go and auction anything belonging to Thomas Jefferson to sell it, to auction on the market. Were they? These people have always fought to erase our history. And in doing it, they don't even care. They keep rubbing it in our faces. They don't care because you know what? They know we can't do nothing. They know we control nothing. Do you see the case in the UN against Asia? At the end of the day, what did they say? The United Nations has asked Israel to make sure to put things under control. South Africa carried a case of genocide to charge Israel for crime. And they say they're begging Israel to make sure to speed out ceasefire. You know, sometimes it's tough. It's hard to say at times. But I don't know how best we will say this to the African continent. There's no way you do business with your enemy and you think you will succeed. Any business with your enemy is a lost business. You will never succeed. You will become the victim, and you will always be the victim because they see you as an enemy, not as business partner. They see you as idiot. They spit on you. They see you as spitter. Spit. Bubble, when you spit, is a bubble that flash in the air. That's how they see black people. What the hell you think? You will take your case to your enemies and you think you'll win that case against your enemy for your enemy to pay for it? Let's continue. I don't want to diverge from the topic. And I'm not going to read the whole article, right? But you see what is saddening in here? These colonialists, they are so smart and brilliant that we can give it to them. You know what made them smart and brilliant? Because they understand us. They understand us. We don't understand them. Because if we understand how they understand us, we will know how to deal with them. First of all, what they did here, they came to the relative of Nelson Mandela and convinced them that they want to sell the belonging of Nelson Mandela. They want to sell it and then use the money to build a memorial ground in remembering of Nelson Mandela. You know what I mean? It's like when they went to Africa, they start cracking the nose of black people to erase their identity. Because meaning you tell black people by their nose. So they break it out and then they break their ear out to erase their identity. What will it mean if you say the identity and then you use that money and build a memorial park? What would that memorial park instill on the generation that are coming to know who this man is? When you have sell or you have sold everything that they need to come and see that, wow, this is what this man went through. Wow, look at this. This is a picture. This is an example. This is the evidence. You saw the evidence and then create a memorial park that people will go and just sit. And then go and write some kind of story. Oh, Nelson Mandela was a war hero. he believed in democracy, because those are the kind of things that were project. And the actual picture that people will see to say that he spent 27 years in jail because U.S., Britain, and Israel put him in jail for 27 years, they will erase all of that. And they work with the family, and the family agreed. Because in their mind, having a memorial plaque to say this is Nelson Mandela Memorial Park. The George Washington Memorial Park, when you go there, did they sell anything? Or when you go to that Memorial Park, there's a hall that you enter, you will see all the evidence what George Washington did for white people, for his descendant. What Thomas Jefferson did for his descendant, you will see it there. Let's continue here. The South African government on Friday said it was backing a legal bid we see to have the sale of personal items belonging to former president and anti-apartheid hero Nelson Mandela. Why would they want to sell it? So you see how they try to erase history? The thing they did against black people, against African people, you see how they're trying to erase it? Over 70 items belonging to Mandela are set to be auctioned later in February in New York City. Heritage Agency bid to block Mandela item. You know, hold on. Let me see right here. Let me read something here. I want to see where they brought in the dollar. That's the part that really, really hurt me, to hear that the dollar was involved in selling it. Now, look at some of the things that will be sold. Among a trove of items to be sold are personal effects like Mandela ID. Jesus, why would they want to sell his ID? And then guess what? It will be the same white people, the same descendant of the slave master will go and buy this ID, right? And they will be telling their children, look at this monkey. You know how long we put this monkey in prison? We put him in prison for 27 years. Our father did it. Our forefather did it. He suffered in prison for 27 years. We saw him poison to eat so he can die. That's how they're going to be doing. And the children, the dogs sat down there and agreed to this stupidity. ID, that's how they're going to sell. And then in the long run, if South Africa requests for this thing, then the children will now go again and sell it to South Africa with huge money. So they keep making profit, because that's not going to happen. They're going to buy it with less money, and then after a few years, and then come and say, oh, we need to, you know what? We need to remember Nelson Mandela. This coming back, then they go and sell it and resell it again. The money still circulating among the colonizer. But yeah, they're going to sell Nelson Mandela ID card, aviator sunglasses. They're going to sell his sunglasses for what? Did they sell Washington, how they call it? George Washington ID? Did they sell his sunglasses? Thomas Jefferson, his ID, his sunglasses, his coat? Did they sell it? His shoe? Did they sell it? His distinctive color, how they call it, Mandiba T-shirt, they're going to sell it. And a number of walking stick, his walking stick, they're going to sell his walking stick. They're still making money out of black people. Very personal gift that he got, very personal gift are also on the list, including a blanket given to him by former President Barack Obama and his wife Michelle, and a champagne color that was a present from former President Bill Clinton. Who are the same people going to buy these things? The descendant of the slave master. So they are expecting, right, to get $7 million out of there. $1 million. That's what they are expecting. Now they said the auction house has been working. You see this? The auction house has been working with Mandela, earliest Dr. Makazengwe, who won a court judgment in December, allowing the sale to proceed. You see what can happen? Yeah, the enemies, your enemies is in your house. Your enemies is yourself. So they were able to convince the relative or the dollar, because if the relative or the dollar say no or the son say no, the sale will not go on. So they came and convinced them. The most influential person in the family have been convinced. I believe, I don't know her, but she might be. I believe she might be the most influential person in the family that everybody in the family listen to. Because in Africa, it's a fact. That's the culture. We must have at least one family, one or two family, or one or two person in the family that everybody listening to. That's the culture in Africa. It is a culture. We must have one or two person that everybody adhere to, everybody listen to. When that person speak, he or she speak, that's it. Everybody follow. So she might be the person, I believe. So they said the South African Heritage Recovery Agency said it has logged an application for leave to appeal that judgment, which is now opening. But let me see, there was something here. If I can't find it, we'll move on. So there is something here that said the sales, and the proceeds for that sales will be used to open a memorial. As I'm talking, I'm looking if I can find it. A memorial, how they call it, park for children and so and things like, come on, why can't you build a memorial park and then build an area there and carry these items and put it in there? And that could be an evidence of the history of what these Europeans did. But it came to the dollar, I believe, who happened to be the most influential person in the family, to convince her, and she agreed to it, not knowing the mindset of these people is to erase her father's legacy, her father's memory, and then go and build an open park and say Nancy Mandela Memorial Park. That's why I'm about to go on. The last one we're about to look at here, let's see this. Let's go to Ghana. We're about to finish, folks. We've been here a long time, so I'm just trying to speed up. That's why you saw me, the next Mandela story ended. But at least you understand what's going on there. That's why I didn't bring other stuff, other video and things. But let's continue here. So let's go to Ghana, the IMF. All right. This is Ghana. This is the IMF. So the IMF approved 600 million disbursement for Ghana. Now, I'm not sure, but I believe this is what happened. I'm not sure, but I believe this is what happened because I did not do research to add it up. Okay, so I don't want to say, speak like to say, yet, but I believe that's what happened. Now, a few weeks ago, we spoke about the Pan-African event that should have been here in Ghana with Dr. Arikina, Julia Malema, Patrick Lumumba, and Peter Obi. Now, let me just justify this. Julia Malema was in Ghana last week. And after that, there's two Snacky or something, that African channel, that support African, that even if African president are doing the wrong thing, they still speak. They don't speak against African president. I don't know if those African leaders are giving them little crumbs. I don't know. But they came out to say Julian Malema was in Ghana and he was not canceled. He was not stopped. I just laugh. If only they understood or they understand the reason why Julian Malema was in Ghana and the reason why they even should have been here with both Malema, Dr. Arakina, Lumumba, and Peter Obi, if they only like come to realize the reason why I was cancer, they would not actually support Julian Malema being in Ghana. The reality here is they are not against Julian Malema going to Ghana. They are not against Dr. Arakina going to Ghana alone by herself to go speak. They are not against Patrick Lumumba going to Ghana alone by himself to speak. They are not against Peter Obi going to Ghana alone by himself to speak. No. What they are against is the unity. Because let's say Julian Malema went to Ghana, but Julian Malema was unable to speak what Dr. Arakina could have spoken, what Peter Obi could have spoken on, what Patrick Lumumba could have spoken on. Julian Malema only spoke on what he know and the time he had there. So individualism is what we don't believe in. We believe in collectivism. And it is that collectivism that was stopped. It was a Pan-African movement that was stopped. Because Julian Malema was that event that got stopped. Julian Malema was coming from South Africa, or I'm not going to say South Africa. Julian Malema was coming from the South. Because I'm speaking Pan-African here now. Julian Malema was coming from the South with the issues and circumstances affecting the people in the South, in the southern part of Africa. Patrick Lumumba was coming from the East, the eastern part of Africa, with the issues and solutions affecting the people in the South. Peter Obi was coming from the West, the western part of Africa, with the issues and circumstances affecting the people in the West. And Dr. Arakina was coming from the diaspora with issues affecting the diasporan. That's where people ain't getting it. And the colonialists got it. The slave master got it. The colonialists and the neo-colonialists got it. You think they don't know what they canceled that thing for? That event was Pan-Africanism. And now, Julian Malema being in South Africa, the number of people that could have been on a Pan-African event, they were not to Julian Malema. Because the Pan-African event, people came from all sorts of places, different nations around the how they call it, African continent, and people came from the diaspora as well. Julian Malema, who came from around the continent, who came from the diaspora to go there? How many Ghanaian youth were there that could have been at a Pan-African event? Let's continue here. So we just want to clear that part to say Julian Malema went to Ghana, he was not stubborn and I could do this. We're not talking about individualism here. We are talking about collectivism. That will move on. Let's continue. Now, I believe this was the reason, one of the reasons Nana Akufo-Addo canceled the Pan-African event. This was one of the reasons the slave master told Nana Akufo-Addo do not allow that Pan-African movement to go on. Because Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo, under his administration, he have made Ghana a laughable nation to the West. He have made Ghana a laughable nation, a noble nation that the Kwame Nkrumah left behind. A noble nation that we believe, we love. Nana Akufo-Addo have made our nation a laughable nation. The decision comes after Accra reached a deal to restructure 5.4 billion of loan with its official creditor. So does that mean this was in the making? And they told Ghana, if you try it, you know you already owe us, right? Look here, before we even go, I'm not going to read the whole article, but look here. Look right here. Look right here. Ghana is aiming to restructure 2/3 of its external debt that was about 30 billion at the end of 2022. Do you understand? $30 billion at the end of 2022 that Ghana owe in debt. So, do you think Ghana going to do? There's nothing Ghana going to do on her own. Ghana have been bought, and that's how Liberia is about to be. Liberia is in a dangerous zone. We are in a dangerous zone. Liberia is about to be like Ghana. It's sad, man. It's sad. That's why one of the Gambian, how they call it, revolutionary leader in 1962, he said, if we don't take care of our independence, if we don't properly take care of our independence, the colonialists will come by as investors to colonize or to take our nation, to take our resources. That's what exactly going on here. That's what exactly going on here. The authoritarian reform efforts have helped to improve growth, decrease inflation, and increase international reserve. First of all, international reserve. Is it reserve for Ghanaian, for local Ghanaian? But you know, there was a banker here, and she said, this is not going to help Ghana. I don't know if I can find it. I mean, I'll post the article because of time. I don't have it. I don't have time, but I can post the article and yourself can go through it. And there was a Ghanaian banker here, I believe, who have key position in the government, and she said it's dangerous to the Ghanaian economy. It's not going to help. Because first of all, look, listen to this, folks. I don't care how you borrow $300,000. I don't care how you borrow $300,000. It's not going to pay your country. It's not going to do nothing. Because if you borrow that $300,000, okay, this is what's happening. There's $30 billion or whatsoever to $5.4 billion that they give to the Ghanaian president, right? That money is not in the Bank of Ghana. That money is in the Bank of America. That money is in a Swiss bank. It's right here in America here. It's not producing profit. How are you going to pay that money back when you don't have infrastructure for your people, for your citizens? It's not. My computer being frozen. You see it? So we will not go through it because the computer frozen already. So how you gonna produce that money back? So that money is right in the Swiss bank, is right in the America bank here. All right, and they take that same money and loan it to another African leader. So basically, Ghana says she have $1 billion, but that $1 billion is safe in American banks. And this is why African leaders do not want to work together, right? To create a national bank in Africa so that they can put their money in. Because if they do that, their money will be monitored by Africans accounting. Now, if they come into power, not having enough money, not even a millionaire, but after 2 or 3 years, they become billionaires. They know we Africans will monitor their account, and they will have to be answerable to those money. But if the money is in an American bank or in a Swiss bank, America is not going to question them, because America is using that same money to make money. They are using that same money, loaning it to other African nations. Why can you have a banking system in Africa that you can control your money, that your money can be in, and you can use that same money to loan it to other African nations if need be? The computer froze. I can't even read, so I'll just take it out. Okay? If need be. Why can't you do that? All right? Why can't you do that? Okay, I will share the link. Let me see here. I will share the link. I just took it out, but I can go back to my email and share the link. Yeah, why can't you do that? You see? Let me see here. Oh, 48 days. Okay, no, it's not this. Yes, you see? So I believe that was the reason why they canceled that event, because they knew what was coming. They canceled that event. Sorry, folks, I'm trying to get this stuff here. If I can't find it, then I have to just email it to me. Hold on. Let me get it from here. Let me email it back to me. Yeah, I couldn't read it because the computer kept frozen already. I don't know why it kept frozen. All right, let me send it here. Let me send it to you guys. Let me send it in there quick so we can continue. We already sent. Let me see here. Oh, okay, it's right here. It just came. Okay, let me copy it and send it to you guys quick. Copy. All right, so let me post it here. All right, I just sent it. Okay, that's it right there. Yeah, so let me see. So let me see here. Let me bring out the last thing we talk about it just to go. I know I talked about it already, but there is something I want to talk about here about Liberia. Okay, so let me just bring it out and then we move on. There's something I want to mention. I don't want to leave it behind. So let me see here. Okay, right here. All right. So now we're going to end on Liberia, right? So the picture I'm about to show, right, is the president that was speaking. But what I want to talk about is look behind him. Just look behind him, right? That's the point I want to close on. Look behind him. It looked like he was in the white man land. He was in Europe or he was in America, right? Look at all those people behind him. Why were they in Liberia for? Why were they there? They went there to just see a black man becoming president for a black nation. We are done. There's a puppet government coming in. We saw it even before he became elected. But it's very sad.
We must work together for solve purpose. And therefore assuring all Liberians that what estimate or not, private affiliation, county relations, gender, and region, social economic.
We gotta go. So first of all, see him reading there. That's an energetic president. Look how he's reading. He's reading. If, like I said, he have, it's hard to say, man. It's very sorrowful. It's sorrowful, man. A president that want to rule young people. See how he's reading over there. That's a president for a nation. You see how sorrowful, how dangerous it is to our country? Pronouncing words. He said he's reading. And look, all those folks behind him. And to say they were the security. Look. And to say he was in America. Like, look at the picture, like he was in UK. And he's speaking, and the UK government, security behind him. Or he was at the White Hall in Washington, D.C., and the security behind him. You can't even know that this is an African nation in Africa. Look. You get just only one black man standing right here, the security, but all behind here, look. Come on, man. We done. It is what it is, but we are done. Well, family, this is today's presentation. We've been here for a while. Share, like, subscribe. You can comment after the live video. You can go to the YouTube session, comment how you feel, how you like it, and what need to be improved, what you want me to talk about. I mean, sometimes, if you have anything for us to talk about, once it's relating to Black people, African people, post it, okay? We're going to talk about it. So you can still post it in the chat. Trust me, we still go to the chat and see comment, because that's how we improve. We don't know everything, so we're not going to sit here and either we know it, okay? Because we have professors, teachers that are watching us, all right? So you can post your comment, and where you want us to improve, post it. Don't be afraid. We are not here to say, oh, no. Say what you want to say, all right? And if you have anything for us to discuss, post it in a comment. We still go to those videos, even old video, we still go and see comments. Okay, because there are some things posted there. Maybe somebody was so concerned and they wants to talk about it. So we can still see it, and we will still do research and add up and speak about it. So if we don't speak about it, then maybe we don't have enough material and we are still looking to add up, or it have not yet reached to that point, for to talk about. But trust me, we will definitely talk about it. So if you have anything, once it's pertaining to Black people, post it. We will talk about it. But having said that, thanks for being on. I will see you Saturday, and then I will see you Sunday. Peace.